Here with me is Mr. Fergus Cullen, the chairman of the New Hampshire Republican Party. Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you,
Dan. My first question is, before I start asking you about foreign policy questions, is how was your reaction about last night's speeches?
Well, it was the first day of the convention. It was sort of a rolling start. I think the fact that Senator Lieberman was there from Connecticut, just the fact that he was speaking was the message. This was someone who 8 years ago was the Democratic nominee for vice president, who was thrown out of his own party because basically he's a moderate, and especially as a moderate on, in fact, a hawk on foreign policy and international affairs. And the angry extreme left wing, which dominates the Democratic Party these days, cannot tolerate somebody with alternative views, and so they cast him out of the Democratic Party. Now he's an independent, effectively, and for him to come and support John McCain is hugely symbolic, shows how the left wing has taken over the Democratic Party, and is a reason for moderates of all kinds to consider voting for John McCain in this election.
Before Senator McCain's choice of Governor Palin as a vice president, who did you think would have been his pick?
Well, I didn't have any special insight. There's certainly the usual suspects' names were being circulated, but I do think that Governor Palin is an excellent choice. She has developed a reputation as a reformer in Alaska, someone who is not afraid to take on the establishment, including the establishment in her own party, my party, when it's been wrong. And that's something which I really admire in her, and it's a symbol that voters are going to get change with a McCain-Palin administration as well. We know voters are looking for change. We've got two mavericks, two people from Governor Palin from as far away from outside Washington as one can get, with a record, again, of shaking things up, taking on the establishment. So voters are going to get change with the McCain-Palin administration as well.
So what do you think the most change that American people look for?
What kind of change they're looking for? Well, I think that people feel, one change that I'm seeking is I believe that we as a party, my party, went off on the wrong track, which is what I would call big government conservatism in the last 8 years, an embrace of government involvement and interference in things that are best left to states or local governments or individuals to handle. And so that's one return that I'd like to see, that we get back to small government conservatism as part of our mission that we are talking about as Republicans.
What special strength Governor Palin brings to the ticket?
Again, that record of actually reform in Alaska. For example, Don Young has been the congressman in Alaska for 35 years. He was elected to Congress the year I was born. He was the infamous author of the Bridge to Nowhere pork legislation, which Governor Palin shut down in Alaska. And Don Young has been part of the problem. And Governor Palin had her own lieutenant governor take on Congressman Young in a primary. The outcome is too close to call. They're still determining who won the primary, which took place a couple weeks ago. But that kind of willingness to challenge the entrenched establishment and those people within her own party who have been wrong is a huge asset, and one of the reasons why she has special appeal, I think.
Last night at the yesterday at the breakfast, we heard that New Hampshire would be still the first to go for the nation in the primaries. How was that for the delegates, and how was that for you? What's your reaction about that?
Protecting and preserving the first-in-the-nation primary is something which is a shared goal of Republicans and Democrats in New Hampshire. It's simply not a partisan issue. And having a carve-out within the party rules for the first time that acknowledges and recognizes the historic traditional role that New Hampshire has played is a huge step forward for us as we try to fend off challenges from other states. So having that for the first time recognized, acknowledged, and written into party rules is a tremendous accomplishment. From a parochial standpoint, it was really our number one goal in this convention.
Did you have to go through negotiations before that?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Who were the states that you had to negotiate with?
This has been something that has been a contested issue for years, for decades in fact, and that's why getting this accomplishment of actually having it written into the rules is such an extraordinary accomplishment. More recently, it's been negotiated by the Republican National Committee Rules Committee. Sean Mahoney from Portsmouth is New Hampshire's representative on that committee, but certainly there's been a lot of behind-the-scenes negotiating from a lot of people with official party roles and sort of unofficial party roles as well.
Okay. Thank you very much.